So I thought 2024 was a great year for movies, and as hard as it was, I narrowed it down to my top 5 of the year. But before I continue, I want to list 5 honorable mentions that just barely missed a cut. Robert Eggers delivers once again with Nosferatu, starring Bill Skarsgård and Lily Rose Depp. I saw this in theaters, and it was a visual masterpiece, in my opinion. It just barely missed my top 5. Dune Part 2, directed by Denis Villeneuve, another beautifully shot movie with a great cast and a great follow-up to the previous movie. Wicked surprised me. I'm not a fan of musicals that much. My girlfriend wanted me to watch this movie. I promised her I would. So I gave it a chance, and I actually thought it was very, very good. Ariana Grande, in my opinion, deserved that Best Supporting Actress Oscar. The Substance. This movie is batshit crazy in all the right ways. They executed the movie perfectly. Demi Moore was great. I think that Margaret Qualley was snubbed. She should have been at least nominated. She was just as good as Demi in this movie, and it's a wild ride. It's a crazy experience, but it's a solid film. Abigail, that movie surprised me. I thought it was going to be run-of-the-mill action horror movies, kind of goofy, and it is funny at moments, but it was really good. Stylish, good soundtrack, good cast. They were all worked well off of each other, and this little girl, she's pretty menacing, man. Don't mess with her. Okay, so now here's my top 5. Coming at number 5, we have Sing Sing. I was blown away by this film. Coleman Domingo did an excellent job. If you ask me, he was number 1 for lead actor in my heart. I think he should have been the winner. We all knew it was going to happen because it was a race between, Adrian Brody and Timothy Chalamet. He plays a man who's in prison for a crime that he didn't commit in the first place, who finds solace in a prison theater group where these incarcerated men can go and express themselves through art, a place where they can go to kind of get away from the harsh realities of prison itself. This is also based on a true story with some of the actors playing themselves, like Clarence Macklin, who I believe was snubbed. He should have been at least been nominated for Best Supporting Actor, in my opinion. Number 4, we have Small Things Like These, starring Cillian Murphy. The year was jam-packed with popular films. This was not heavily marketed. I mean, unless you're a fan of, cinema, or Cillian Murphy himself, you probably didn't even know this movie was out there. Especially compared to his role in Oppenheimer, directed by Christopher Nolan the year before. This movie takes place in a small Irish town. Cillian Murphy stars as Bill, who's a coal merchant, a wonderful father, and a great husband. Guy just has a big heart, This movie really dives headfirst into the terror behind Ireland's Magdalen laundries, which were horrific asylums that were run by the Catholic Church. The film depicts the abuse that troubled young women had to endure from the hands of these nuns that were running the show. Cillian Murphy stumbles upon this one day when he's making a delivery, and when he enters the building to get an invoice, he sees that these girls were being kept prisoner and put to work, being punished, verbally and physically abused. And this guy, a gentle man who has a big heart, he really just thinks about his childhood and what he had to go through. We spent a lot of time on that. He doesn't like seeing any child in pain or struggling. He doesn't wish any harm, and he wants to help out when he can, if he can. This is a situation where his hands are tied. The Catholic Church runs everything in this town, and this takes place in the 80s too, so, different times. He has a moral dilemma. Basically, what are you going to do about it if you can do anything about it? And if you do anything about it, what are the consequences? Murphy just runs away with this performance, and it's my type of movie. The subtlety of this movie is just something that I love, and he tells a story with his eyes too. Just pain behind his eyes, and Cillian Murphy was the perfect guy for this role. Solid movie, underrated movie, underseen movie, a film that everyone should see at least once. And at number 3, we have Anora. Now, when it came to who was in the running, this was my favorite movie of the year. We'll get to that in a second, but it deserved it. I think it was an amazing movie. Mikey Madison deserved the Oscar. As much as I did like Demi Moore's performance in The Substance, I think Mikey Madison deserved this role for Anora. She's come a long way since her role in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I thought she was excellent in, from what she was in. If you know, you know. This is kind of like the anti-Cinderella story right now of a young sex worker who kind of gets her ticket out when a rich Russian guy, the son of a powerful Russian businessman, comes to, sweep her off her feet, and they go get married. It's a bad idea. His family comes and tries to get the marriage annulled. Yura Borisov also did an excellent job as supporting role. I would have voted for him, but Kieran Culkin was a shoo-in for the Best Supporting Actor. We all knew that was going to happen, which he deserved. This movie just has everything going for it. It can be, exotic, thrilling, funny, and it's quite sad, too, if you really think about it. It's a really emotional film towards the end, and you don't think that in the beginning, Just does a complete 180, but I loved it. I'm glad it won Best Picture and all the awards that it got. Check it out if you haven't. Strange Darling. If you want to talk about unseen movies, underrated movies, never mentioned movies, this is one right here. Strange Darling is a great movie. It's a mind fuck. And I'll tell you right now, Kyle Garner, up and coming star, man. He's been in the business for a long time, but this past couple of years, he's been starring in some great movies that I love. The movie's full of twists. Go into the movie blind because it throws you back and forth. It doesn't give you a straight answer. It's told like in different chapters and it's out of order. So you don't know what the hell's going on. It's such a thrill ride, like this guy said up here. I can't really say anything else about it, but you won't be disappointed. It's a nutty film. And at number one, my favorite movie of last year is Heretic, starring Hugh Grant, Sophie Thatcher, and Chloe East. A24 really pumped out another gem here. And I'm going to call it underrated because no one really talked about it. Hugh Grant didn't get nominated for anything. He did get nominated for a Critics' Choice Award. Thank you, critics, because the man deserves it, at least to be nominated for Best Actor. And two missionaries knock on his door from the Mormon church, in hopes to convert him. He invites him in, insisting that his wife's in another room. And then they have a philosophical debate on religion. And despite the first, 45 minutes of this movie just being dialogue between these three people, it's very intriguing. Like, I'm on the edge of my seat just from these conversations they're having. And it's just, he's so creepy. And I don't know, we never seen Hugh Grant in a role like this. He's always the rom-com guy. Executed this role as a deranged psychopath, a very intelligent psychopath, perfectly. Second half of the movie, without giving anything away, kind of turns into a full-fledged horror film. And some people got turned off by that, but I loved it. You get the best of both worlds, man. You got first half was great, sharp dialogue, awesome conversations, and in the second half you get your horror. You come into this movie thinking it's a horror movie, and you get it. But it's just everything about it. I watched it like 3 times already, and each time it gets better. Check this out if you haven't. Heretic, starring Hugh Grant. What was your favorite movie from 2024? I could have mentioned many more, but these are my top 5, some honorable mentions. Let me know in the comments what you think and hit that follow button.